of them.
That's what Elon was thinking, but
Yeah.
like for the opposite, there was like at least one of them needs to be
Yeah.
a fascist.
Yeah.
And here are the questionable Harris statements that they let go.
The president then at the time say there were fine people on each side. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Meanwhile, the Harris campaign wants a second debate. Donald Trump says
That was the only time where it was like they could have I guess like fact checked her or about the Hamas thing.
Yeah,
but
Well,
that's never
God
gonna
knows
happen.
they're not going to fact check that.
Yeah. David Muir
Anyone
is
can say
sexy,
that.
but like they're decapitating him if he says something in front of 65 million people like that.
Yeah, you don't get to be on the news asking questions like that.
No, not at all.
Way. if he had to push back on that for even a second, they would be like trying to organize protests against David Muir.
Yeah,
They'd be
would.
like, my daughter goes to Colombia and she's afraid she's going to get killed because of David Muir normalizing anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't. Yeah, 'cause they don't like
welcome back, anti-Semite of the week, David Muir.
he's mulling it over.
Well, you know, when you don't win, it's like a fighter. When a fighter has a bad fight, gets knocked out, or loses the fight, the first thing he says...
Dude, he is coping so hard. He went into the spin room, which he did after the Hillary debate as well, which I think Hillary won in that instance too. I think if I remember correctly, the first debate that he did with Hillary won. So he like did the spin room back then as well. But he immediately started talking about like 3 Twitter polls that he found that were available for 24 hours. And in the first, like he clipped them in the first 23 minutes and was like, see, 95% said that I won.
Yeah, and it was like what? Like Cat Turd is running the poll?
Yeah, it was like Insider Paper or something. It's like one of those like Groyper accounts that fucking presents itself as like a breaking news now type account.
He didn't even get because like everyone in the Trump sphere is like, well, okay, he lost, but it's because he was had to fight the moderator and Harris. He was fighting 3 people that night. You know?
C-SPAN ran those polls? No shot. What? There's no way.
We want a rematch. So we won the debate according to every poll, every single poll. I think that...
Oh, the C-SPAN poll is also a Twitter poll.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's see.
Yep. Yeah, no, agree.
The only thing this shows is that Twitter is not real life at all. It is just dominated by right-wing Nazi losers. If I didn't click that, they would ban me on Twitter. Okay, chat. You don't understand. That's crazy. These guys are so fucking delusional.
Are we going to do a rematch? I just don't know. But we'll think about it.
Yeah, he's not.
There's no way.
He got clobbered.
Probably the single worst performance of his political career.
Yeah.
Historically bad.
Yeah, it's pretty apparent. Like Fox News did the death.
Now.
The Fox News was doing the death spiral chants. Brit Hume literally was like, "This is the worst debate I've ever seen." Like,
well, yeah, Brit Hume is like a pre-Trump guy. Like he's
Yeah,
like a
no,
Bush
I
guy,
know.
so he knows.
I know. He's single-handedly watched this party that this party that he loves go from like the competent country club Republicans to like the Trump
He's
party.
furious.
That is a wrap.
Like Brit Hume was probably there when Karl Rove thought of the idea to say that John McCain had a black illegitimate daughter, and he's like, "This is what this party is now." These
Yeah.
idiots.
On the Harris-Trump presidential debate, now in the books.
Here with us tonight for post-debate analysis, Brit Hume, Dana Perino, Harold Ford Jr., Laura Ingraham, Jesse Waters, plus Sean Hannity will be with us live from the spin room. Well,
What a weird
topics,
career Harold
inflation,
Ford has.
abortion, immigration, January 6th. It took about 40 minutes to get to a question pressing Vice President Harris on the list of changing policies from when she ran for president in 2019. About an hour before foreign policy came up, the first question of the debate, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Never fully received an answer there. However, Vice President Harris was clearly well prepared, practiced, on the offensive much of the night. Former President Trump did take a lot of the bait that she threw out in some of those answers, but he pointed time and again, as he did there at the end, about what she has or has not done as vice president. The question now is, how much does this move the needle?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be said that she was really never held to the fire. She was not pressed by the moderators on her past positions and how she got from a very progressive...
Yeah, I mean, you lost when you're crying to the referee. Like, this is popping champagne. That's how you know this sucked for him.
Sean Hannity is in the spin room. Thoughts on this debate, Sean?
Disagree on other parts of what he said. I think the biggest loser in the debate, and we talked about this pre-debate, is ABC. You know, the fact that we didn't get
soldier, like he knows that.
Just
Yeah.
to your thoughts.
I don't think the American people are watching and thinking any of these people won.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Who's to say?
Yeah. Who knows?
I
Has
don't
anyone
know.
ever won a debate?
Yeah. What are debates really? No one cares about
What
them.
does it mean to win?
Famously, that's what Ben Shapiro said. Ben Shapiro was like, nobody cares about debates. Oh,
Well,
okay.
That's Ben.
Yeah.
You said.
Yeah.
If Ben said that, that's a sign of like
Oh.
self-harm.
Yeah, no. Oh no, I think he used the term fuddy-duddy at the end of it or something. Like, you know, he was busting out the big words. Words exclusive when he's only talking about like Arab people or whatever. They were utilized tonight. He's putting money in the swear jar.
This was rough. This was pretty intense at times. She started off shaky. She regained her footing. But I thought she was going to come out with some of these memorable lines. All them.
Okay. Laura Ingraham doubles down, whining about the ABC News moderators being too harsh on Trump, showing that this will absolutely be the MAGA talking point this week. Brick Hume,
A person who was well
here, this is the Brick Hume
well
thing.
prepared, had answers, and knew where she was going.
Not only a different person from the person she was in that interview on CNN, but a different person from the absolute dunderhead so many of us thought she was during her contract with Vice President. She would come out with these ludicrous statements that started
I love him.
Yeah.
Dunderhead.
Yeah.
where it ended.
When I was there when we shot a missile at the Pentagon. This is worse.
Midair,
Unburdened by the past.
unburdened by common sense, and here she was tonight. She was composed. She was prepared. She kept her cool. She saw advantages. She took them. She debated him successfully, which is the story of the debate, in my view. So she came out ahead in this, in my opinion, no doubt. Now, but it'll move the needle in the race. Very few things seem to, but
No more Brit. They're not making any more Brit Humes. They're not making anyone left who could do 9/11. They're making this guy.
Yeah, this guy is the best though.
Wow.
It's weird. I can't take him seriously. He's not at an airport.
Yeah. Where is he?
Yeah, it's weird. But he is still wearing a shirt that is noticeable.
This is like the Republican uniform now.
Yeah.
Like the dumbest t-shirt you've ever seen over a blazer for some reason.
Yeah.
I love that outfit.
Yeah.
Looks like the
debate is
coolest
over.
thing.
I'm mic'd up because I'm getting ready to go live on Newsmax N2. Getting ready to go live, so I'm mic'd up. The debate is over. What did you guys think of the debate? Friends, Kamala came prepared. She came prepared with lots of points that I don't know that President Trump was ready for. It was not a slaughter, and I'll tell you why. Because she was pushing lies that if somebody doesn't know what the truth is, then they wouldn't know. They don't know what to think. And how many Americans actually go research? How many actually go research and fact check? I've been trying to put the fact checks out. She still pushed the Charlottesville.
Fact check. Yeah, fact check. Haitians are eating cats.
He's really spiraling at this.
Yeah, this is not
Lie.
fun.
Absolutely a lie. She pushed so many lies, but she was very, very cunning in exactly why and how she said what she said. And at the end of
this is cognizant that like Kamala baited the out of Trump, and Trump.
There's not a single thing that she baited on him on that he didn't walk directly into.
Yeah. This debate won't matter. It was just eliminated as an inflection point. The American people still know nothing about Kamala Harris' position. Donald Trump is still Donald Trump, and the legacy media is still a giant flaming dog turd.
Woo! Yeah, man.
Wait, did he put himself on the shirt? Wait,
Yes,
is that
he did.
him? Oh, come on, bro.
Yeah, it's
no,
Elon.
that's basically reserved for Victor Orban, dog. Okay.
Yeah, he did not shout out David at the debate. He shouted
Yeah.
out Victor Orban.
It is pretty funny because people are like, oh, why didn't they fact check Kamala Harris? Like, what are they supposed to fact check her on? She's boring as shit.
Yeah.
Like, she's not gonna come out. Like, what would be the liberal version of like?
Oh, Kamala, you said our dreams undergird our ambitions. Is that true? She just says bullshit. You can't, like, that's not,
It's like old school, buttoned up politics. Like the last time the fact check ever happened was like Mitt Romney one time. And that was like a big point of contention, a big point of controversy. It didn't even happen. And it's like, yeah, back in the day, a lot of you are young, but like politicians would at the very least try to lie in the direction of the truth, or would try to lie in a way that still gives them an out. Donald Trump completely dropped that. He's just been saying 1 million Americans get killed every day by migrants.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? Not say that's wrong.
Yeah, there's a difference. Like, exactly where like when Bush lied, or any of these guys, or any of like the supposed successors to the Bush Republicans, when they did it, it was always in like such a way that if you fact checked it, you looked like you were quibbling or like just looking for confrontation.
Yeah, they used to care. They used to care about like how they messaged it, and I think Donald Trump was correct when he predicted that like it's better to just like drop the dog whistle, because like clearly the American population was way more responsive to that. That's why they were like, it tells it like it is, you know?
Yeah, but then the problem with that is like you can't then like point to like, you know, any type of propriety or norms and go, hey, why aren't you giving me that?
Yeah.
Why aren't you extending me the same professional courtesy?
Yeah.
Well, you know, you chose not to have this.
Yeah.
You don't want it. And it's mostly it advantaged you and hurt you in other ways.
The closest you can get to like a fact check would be, and it's not even remotely in the same territories like that Trump says on a daily basis, but like it would be the bloodbath thing. Yeah. Where he was like very obviously talking about the economy and like using violent language, but he's not talking about like, you know, the streets are gonna run red with blood or whatever. He's just saying like the economy's gonna tank. Having said that, however, he says a whole bunch of violent anyway, so that's also like a useless fact check in general. What are you gonna act like Trump doesn't say insanely violent about like direct political violence on a daily basis? Or what are they gonna do? Like call out Kamala Harris because Donald Trump said, "You're the reason why I got shot at"? That was awesome.
Yeah.
He was like, Kamala Harris.
Horrible things about me and that got me shot.
Yeah, that's Kamala Harris when she was saying like, you know, our dreams are going to be starting when we start the process of dreaming about our start. That's when that was the activation code for the Manchurian candidate to snipe Donald Trump.
Yeah, when that kid heard about $50,000 for startups in minority neighborhoods, oh my God, I have to kill him.
Yeah, I have to kill him.
I love this policy so much. Such a good idea.
Yeah. Cat Turd talking about like pet murder is pretty crazy. Like, dude, come on, dude. You put out like a massive Twitter post. Like you posted about murdering your dog, dude.
He is the Labrador flattener.
We haven't even like seen what the Fox 5 are saying about
There's
this.
been big electoral shifts. I mean, like seismic things happening in this campaign. Joe Biden's debate, Trump's the assassination attempt on his life, Joe Biden dropping out, and the race basically remains tied, and it probably will be after this debate as well. But what did you think about last night?
Well, I don't know who won, but I know who lost. It was the American people.
Boom.
You know, you could say if you complain about the refs, you're losing. Well, if the refs are corrupt, you gotta complain because everybody lost.
So it's fine.
I actually got dumber watching it. I felt like my brain was being waterboarded by.
Yeah, you shouldn't have watched it. And if you did watch it, forget about it because it's stupid.
Yeah, nothing happened. Don't even ask me about it.
Yeah. 65 million people got stupid last night. Please don't say that you watched it or bring it up ever
Sheer
again.
nonsense of these idiot moderators. But we were so sidetracked by the mechanics of the debate, the muted mics, that we forgot about them. I honestly don't know how anyone can decide who won the debate. That's like trying to guess the price of a painting that you suspect is a forgery. You can't.
Bro is unwinding the entire career trajectory of like he's literally just saying like, why do people even commentate on politics? Like why? It's stupid. It's just like, what a dumb thing. You just have like 5 of your friends sit around in front of a table and start talking about politics. Why really is anybody doing debates?
Who really cares? Like, is anyone even noticing this stupid shit? I like sports. This is dumb.
He said, who even keeps tab of like who won a debate? Like as though he hasn't been doing this professionally for like 40 years.
If you went on Fox after Joe Biden went havudababa at the debate and you were like, who really knows what politics even are? They would make you the new, like, no lady.
Yeah.
You know, they would never forget about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Can't objectively decide a winner in a sham competition. This is truly the first DEI debate where one candidate was subjected to a high standard and the other was held to no standards at all. They removed the essence of fairness to achieve an outcome that could not be scored. You cannot score that. That is why you can't say who won or who lost. A liberal should be ashamed that your candidate needed the odds to be stocked so heavily in their favor. You know, for many Americans, Harris entered as a mystery and exited as a mystery, and that was the goal, to keep her under wraps. So anyone who attributes that to Kamala's skill is an idiot.
He's talking shit to Brit Hume. Brit Hume is going to ride on you.
Yeah, I mean, they don't care. They know. He knows that they have to say this. He's like the politics chief of Fox News.
He's talking shit. Like, Brit Hume was like, she used to be a dunderhead and now she's the talk of the town.
Yeah, but this is the editorial section where they're gonna, he has to say this. But I don't know why absolutely zero people on their side is ever going, maybe Trump should try a little bit harder to like massage the narrative.
Yeah.
Instead of just like letting it rip because he got so comfortable by overwhelming a rather non-adversarial media after the 4 years of having adversarial media. He just got comfortable with like just saying whatever the he wants and being kind of like captured in the Truth Social and like, you know, MAGA Trump crowd spaces. So like there's not a lot of coverage over the things that he's saying. And that has caused him to miss us, like to no longer be as cognizant of like some of these other boundaries, you know? Adults are inevitably going to go, this is not okay. This is not correct. Like they're not telling Trump like, hey man, you know, dial it back a little bit. And I think that's a bad instinct to lean into.
They aren't even entertaining in the idea that like a normal person saw Trump and maybe was a little freaked out. They're not even talking about like what a normal person's reaction to Trump would be. They can't bring that up because the moment you do, you have to actually objectively evaluate his performance. Yeah. The only people on this channel that will do that are like the former Bush guys.
Yeah. It is kind of funny though, because like I thought he was gonna be sleepy. Like I thought he was gonna be sleepy and kind of boring, especially with the muted mics. And I thought that could like maybe present as more moderate and be beneficial for him. And then I saw Laura Loomer get off the plane and immediately I was like, no, immediately I was like, no, it's gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun night. Trump's gonna be insane.
If they had given him a sedative, it would have gone better.
Yeah.
It would have been, if that weird thing he did at the one Hillary debate where it sounded like he had a sore throat, that would be a better strategy than whatever the he was doing up there.
Yeah, I think he legitimately came in and was like, you know, I've seen the Dana Bash interview, like she sucked, you know? Yeah. She's not good in a contest. She's not good in a like adversarial setting. So, and there's a lot of that they will inevitably call into question. So, you know, he'll be able to just like, you know, do light work.
Yeah, just steamroll, make it part of the show.
Yeah.
But instead, it just looked like he was whining when he wasn't saying things that completely baffled and alienated the most undecided voters.
Yeah. But it's also because, you know, he just leaned into every time that Kamala Harris like would do a subtle jab in the midst of like talking about other shit. It wasn't just like she wasn't even like going overboard with attacking him. There was a certain point where I was like, okay, like dial it back a little bit. But even then, she would usually package it. She would use it very cleverly in an effort to like deflect away from other conversations that were hard for her to have, like on immigration.
Every time she used it to get out of like immigration or the economy or the general argument that we're off. Every time she did that, and like anyone with half of a functioning brain could be like, oh, she's trying to bait me to get away from that. But instead, he was like, oh, you're gonna bait me? Well, I'll show you.
Yeah, he could have
kill you.
He could have easily been like, how about you, instead of bringing up this old stuff, like answer the question for once about, do you feel better? Do you think the American people are better off now than they were when I was president? Like if he had said that, it would have been dramatically better. It would have been significantly better for Donald Trump, but he just couldn't. He was so mad the whole time.
absolute insanity that Donald Trump is now like out there talking about is astonishing. I mean, just sort of like lie after lie after.
JD Vance being insanely racist on the timeline. I covered this yesterday. I think it's pretty insane, but totally expected that we have officially gotten to a point where like Republicans are just letting it fly. They are basically one step removed from just like openly saying the N-word, like on the timeline. I mean, because they probably do say it off the timeline. We're almost there, you know, we're almost there. We're almost there in terms of just like basically saying slurs. The JD Vance story was so unimaginably racist, unimaginably insane, right? JD Vance agrees to backtrack on false claim about Haitian migrants in Ohio. And it's like that right there, like this article right here from the New York Times, the gray lady, the paper of record, is being incredibly kind to JD Vance. So kind that it almost feels like it's a Fox News article. Like, you're the New York Times. Just say exactly what's going on. JD Vance, as an opportunistic white supremacist, ran with a false claim that Haitian migrants were stealing and eating people's pets, okay? Domesticated animals. Seemingly appears to backtrack from false claim about Haitian migrants in Ohio, hides the truth. It hides the truth. The truth of the matter is that there was a fake story, email chain style fake story that your grandparents would probably believe on Facebook about a police body camera footage from Ohio, but not the place in Ohio that they're talking about where there's a lot of Haitian migrants is Canton, Ohio, was where the body camera footage was, where it was a black woman being arrested. She was having a mental health episode. She was obviously like crazy. She like stomped on the head of a cat and started eating it in front of the cops. And then they were like, this is what Haitian migrants are doing. Haitian migrants are stealing people's cats and eating them. And immediately the Senate Judiciary, the GOP Judiciary Twitter account started posting about like save our ducks and our cats, AI images. Donald Trump started memeing about it. Elon Musk started memeing about it. Ted Cruz started memeing about it, saying like, oh, vote for Donald Trump so he can stop people, you know, Haitian immigrants from stealing your cats and your ducks so they can eat them. Now, this is a career ender. In any other place on the planet, that is a career ender. This is when you pack it up, you're like, wow, this is incredibly racist. You probably should quit politics. You should be permanently humiliated everywhere you fucking go until you do the right thing. And yet we have now officially arrived at a point where this doesn't even take a blip out of your political capital. Your career actually benefits from repeating this racist lie, and everybody just kind of moves on because we move on to the next racist lie. This happened last week with Venezuelan migrant gangs overtaking apartment complexes. And I genuinely thought like, oh, we can't get more racist than this. I was wrong. That now in the distance looks like a normal story, like a oopsie. Now it makes me feel like, yeah, no, I get why people could be duped by that because of how insane this is. Like, these types of stories have always existed. Like, you know, Michelle Obama calls white people crackers. Like, that kind of stuff has always existed in the periphery in American politics. The difference is that was relegated to like the weirdest blogs, right? That wasn't a real story that got like this much mainstream prominence, you know? Like, John McCain's not gonna run around being like, yeah, Michelle Obama called white people crackers, and like Barack Obama got top. Barack Obama got dome from a gay man while he was smoking crack. Like, those kinds of stories back in the day by old school Republican Party members who were also unimaginably racist regardless, those kinds of stories were not presented as like a gotcha, like a real story, right? Like, that wasn't a thing. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that like we've officially gotten to a point where like the sane guy in the insane ticket, the VP pick for Donald Trump, who's supposed to be like the sane, you know, buttoned up guy who is at least like media trained, so we can go on, you know, Dana Bash and talk to Dana Bash with the language that liberals understand. Like, that guy's like, yeah, Haitian migrants are eating cats. That's where we're at now. I fear that this is not good for American political discourse. Eugenics tweet about Haiti has over 7 million impressions. Haiti has an average IQ 6'7". Let's talk about what that means. With an IQ 6'7" or below, the average Haitian, like, this is straight up Hitlerian politics, okay? This is fake eugenicist bullshit IQ, if you know anything about IQ, you already know that it is not a valid metric for anything. People who place a lot of emphasis on IQ in terms of like how successful you will be in society or how productive of a member you will be in society, unironically have low IQ, okay? That's the only reliable metric for IQ. If you start talking about IQ, and if you're like, oh, dude, it's the most valuable, most reliable way to figure out if someone is going to be successful, now I know you have low IQ. Ironically enough, it still doesn't matter, but what that determines for me is that you're a stupid person. IQ is malleable, okay? The way you take the test, and also how much nutrition you have is going to greatly change the output. Studies have been conducted in India during times of famine and the same population size when they're actually well fed. Their IQ point differential is like 10 to 20 points. That's a massive swing. Nutrition and education play a phenomenal role. It's not like some genetic predetermined value in the way that these psychopathic eugenicists try to advocate for. This overall is basically the precursor to scientific racism. For those of you who don't know what scientific racism is what was the precursor to Nazi ideology. It was a way to try and justify racial superiority and racial inferiority. That's, you know, most prominent in the all the way up until the early 1900s, but all the way up until like the 1920s in the United States of America. And obviously post World War II, people were like, this is definitely not a good idea. And not because it's like some secret science that like woke libtards are too afraid to parse through. It's just bullshit. And there are a million different examples of how it's bullshit, like all the way from measuring black people's skull density to try to figure out phrenology, to try to figure out why they were servile. Like it was always a post hoc rationalization for why black people must be a different type and subhuman, a different type of thing, a different type of like living being that actually is better off being enslaved. That is what the ultimate reason for scientific racism was. And if you want to get into it, obviously pre-chattel slavery didn't work in the same way that chattel slavery worked. There was not like generational slavery in that same regard. Chattel slavery obviously accelerated this process and made it significantly worse, which is why historians hold it as a separate thing. And in an effort to justify chattel slavery, Western nations had to come up with a different reason as to why you can make a group of people permanently servile and justify it. That's where the basis of racism comes from. That's where the basis of white supremacy comes from. I don't want to dive into it too much, but ultimately all of that is still associated with this scientific racism of the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, and it is complete bullshit. It is utter nonsense. The association of like any kind of genetic predetermination for success with IQ is completely ridiculous and oftentimes mostly advanced by racist idiots who ironically would probably have very low IQ or at least like what they think low IQ represents. Well, they ironically represent that. So this guy is obviously making this argument in an effort to be like, if your IQ is low, then you have a predetermined slot in society in terms of the workforce. It says IQ 67 or below, the average Haitian over half of the country would be considered too disabled to be eligible for the death penalty. Someone at this level will struggle to understand the cause and effect of basic things. By the way, that's insane to say, because if we know anything, we know that like America loves executing mentally disabled black people. So that part is also wrong. Every part of this argument is wrong. You know, this motherfucker is not keeping up with the Supreme Court. There is no like eligibility of mental disability for the death penalty. The Supreme Court routinely votes in favor of executing people with intellectual disabilities and beyond. At one standard deviation up from 67, we have an IQ of 82. Around 1 in 6 Haitians are intelligent enough to be a below average janitor. Again, associating IQ with like your destiny, your predetermined like slot in society. At 2 SD standard deviation, we're at 97. Roughly average intelligence in America. Around 2% of Haitians will be as intelligent as average high school classmate. It could be clerical workers or cooks. I mean, this is literally just like, Nazi shit. Okay, just letting you guys know. Ironically enough, these people, much like Hitler originally thought that he had this racial superiority and routinely found out that he did not, that the Aryan race was not inherently superior. What I find really funny about this situation as well is that like, dog, you are such a racist that legitimately believes that there is racial inferiority amongst like Haitian migrants that are coming in, that you are duped like a child, because racism, white supremacy makes you dumber. You automatically assume that you have some kind of racial superiority and that there's some kind of racial inferiority. So then you automatically are a dumber person than the average human being who does not have these values. And that's the reason why you will find yourself routinely duped like this. Who the is falling for this story? You have to be an actual baboon brain dip to be like, oh, Haitian migrants, like, I'm sure they're eating cats. Like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're a racist idiot. Anyway, this racist idiot is running for president or vice president. In the last few weeks, my office has received many inquiries from actual residents of Springfield who've said their neighbors' pets or local wildlife were abducted by Haitian migrants. It's possible, of course, that all these rumors will turn out to be false. Do you know what's confirmed? That a child was murdered by a Haitian migrant who had no right to be here. That local health services have been overwhelmed. That communicable diseases like TB and HIV have been on the rise. That local schools have struggled to keep up with newcomers who don't know English. That rents have risen so fast that many Springfield families can't afford to put a roof over their head. One thing that I used to talk about so frequently with Sweden was the anger and resentment that like the average Swede had towards immigrants, Muslims. The very same arguments that you're hearing about like Haitian migrants eating pets and stuff, that's existed in Europe for quite some time. Early on by some of the most unimaginably racist Hitlerian types, and then later by the average person, right? Because that's usually how racism goes if left unchecked. And what's really interesting is that like a lot of the Swedish reactionary movement directly started as a consequence of austerity and actually started before Muslim refugees started coming to Sweden by larger quantities. And that's what's really interesting. And the same principle exists here as well. Economic instability and economic volatility born out of economic inequality and austerity creates an environment where people feel anger and resentment. People see the inequality. They get angry about it. They're upset about their conditions being shit. And then they turn around and they look for a villain. And right-wingers slot that shit in so easily. What I'm talking about is austerity that far predates even the war on terror in Sweden, okay? The war on terror and its understandable, inevitable consequence of having like more Muslim refugees go to Europe because of the destabilization of the region. And what's really interesting about this entire process is that like nowadays people don't even think about that. They literally just like made false associations, and every problem that they experience in society they attributed to refugees. All the while, their welfare state started crumbling and got worse and worse over time because nobody was actually associating the issues with the underlying material inequalities. And that's how capital owners, that's how they run your pockets, okay? That's how they steal your money. You're too busy thinking this guy that looks different than me must have some weird underlying scary purpose for being here, and he doesn't have the same interest that I have in terms of like, having a normal life, and I'm feeling all of this anger and resentment, this hostility, because the conditions are worse than they were 10 years ago, and it must be the scary brown people. That is the reason why shit sucks. See, the statistics like increasing in Sweden, right? Exploding, skyrocketing in Sweden was a consequence of the Swedish government determining differently, logging each instance of sexual assault, not as one, but each individual sexual assault, if done over a long period of time by like a couple, you know what I mean? If like someone is in an abusive relationship, as like individual stats, that actually all of a sudden spiked the statistics, okay? Sexual assault statistics. But psychopathic right-wingers in Sweden immediately used that as an opportunity to shit on Muslims. They were like, this was so commonplace. Fucking PewDiePie talked about it all the way back in, I believe, 2016. PewDiePie was on a podcast being like, yeah, these dumb right-wingers are like lying about like a change in the statistics in Sweden in the way that like is determined, and attributing it falsely to like Muslims because they just hate like refugees. Here's Kamala Harris bragging about giving amnesty to thousands of Haitian migrants. If you're a reporter or an activist who didn't give a shit about these suffering Americans until yesterday, I have some advice. Spare your outrage for your fellow citizens suffering under Kamala Harris's policies. Be outraged at yourself for letting it happen. In short, don't let the crybabies and media dissuade you, you fellow patriots. Keep the cat memes flowing. How do right-wingers get away with near perfect framing of our socioeconomic problem on the left? Someone who is going to save them from said problems do not even come close to a good framing. It's because moneyed interests are organized. It's much easier to organize a couple people with a lot of money and then design society in a way that churns out more of this structure. Moneyed interests are the ones who are funding colleges, funding think tanks, funding politicians. This happens all around the world. And the media that is also obviously interested in corporations, interested in the bottom line of corporations, will follow the money and will create this cycle of misinformation. And things are, I think, legitimately getting worse. Propaganda is so obvious. Why do people fall for it? Because it's comfortable. If you are a stupid person, it's a comfortable narrative. It's a narrative that you probably have in your mind. You're predisposed to tribalism, and it's a reliable and very comfortable fucking narrative. It's crazy that like the New York Times acted like JD Vance backtracked when he literally said keep the cat memes flowing, by the way. I don't even think it's that obvious for them to be fair. It reinforces certain beliefs. People are incredibly susceptible to one singular powerful anecdote massaged in a certain way. Jay Mershon, thank you for this update. This is a great example. The child that was killed by Haitian migrants that Vance is referring to was a child that was killed in a literal bus accident where many more children were harmed. It's so sad to hear, but it's not like the Haitian man was trying to kill this kid. He dropped that in there as though this person like deliberately killed a white baby, right? This scary Haitian migrant came into America to kill a white child. And if you already have that if you have that racist dog in you, then you agree. You're like, oh yeah, he must have done that. And the interesting part about this is that, and I repeated this before, like we haven't even gotten to this side of the conversation, but even if there was a Haitian migrant who came into the United States of America, was like deeply mentally ill and very violent and ended up killing someone, and he literally in the process said like, I want to kill white people, that's why I came here. If you attribute that to the entirety of a population of people, if you look at that and go, oh, every Haitian migrant is like that, you're a racist, dog. That's it. And the easiest way to comprehend that, the easiest way to understand that is by like, when you see a white guy go to a school and shoot an entire school up, okay, and kill a bunch of children and teachers, you don't go, every white guy's doing this, because white people are the in-group. They are the dominant group in the social hierarchy, okay, because whiteness is a concept that changes over time. AZGOP, there's no way this is real. Eat less kittens, vote Republican, catch our newest billboard across 12 locations in the Phoenix metro area. No, this is not real. The official Twitter account of the Republican Party of Arizona, hashtag America First. Dude, I'm serious. Like, if the Democratic Party does not counter message against this like anti-immigration sentiment and openly show it for the fraudulent racist bullshit it is, it's gonna get so much. Bro, this is like Klansman shit, dude. What are we doing? What are we fucking doing? What are we doing right now? This is actually insane. The cat thing seems more unhinged for Republicans than anything. I'm not sure if it's sticking the way they want, or maybe I'm just a frog in boiling water. Dude, this is the never-ending dynamic that I present as a real problem for future political discourse in this country. I said this after the 2022 midterms as well. Going back to the 2022 midterms, what did I tell you? I told you that like Republicans being weird are grossing people out, okay? Normal voters are getting grossed out by the way that like the Republican Party messages. They don't know how to run a normal campaign. However, there is also an underlying fear that I always had where I said either they are going to break the brains of enough people and be able to move the conversation even more to the right, or they're going to lose. But it doesn't change the reality that every single time they put forward a meme like this or add on to like how openly racist they're being, there is going to be an additional 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, if not a million people that go, oh yeah, I'm rocking with this shit. Every time they push the needle forward, every time they move the needle further right in the direction of anti-blackness, in the direction of like anti-migrant sentiment, they are indoctrinating more people into this cause. It ends up normalizing this kind of behavior. By email, a spokesperson for the Arizona Republican Party told Snopes that the 12 billboards were all digital and will be active until September 13th. It's crazy because like these are some of the most underserved, some of the most marginalized people in society. So they do not have an adequate defense mechanism either. There's no one in the pocket for the like big Haitians. There's no moneyed interest backing like Haitian people. So they can't even launch a legal defense against this kind of thing. So the Republicans, being the bullies that they are, can just keep hammering them over and over again because they're defenseless for the most part. That's the reality. Same with trans people. There's really not anything you can do, right? At least there's some level of organization, like a defense structure for trans people in general, but like there's nothing for Haitian people, you know what I mean? You got like maybe a couple migrant advocacy groups and like ACLU and But overall, they got their hands full with every other avenue of attack in general. It's really, really, really scary, dude. Do you think these billboards really work to radicalize people towards the Republicans and not away from them? And my minds is too weird to be palatable? No, I agree. I think this probably pushes away more people than it actually wins over. But the scary thing is every time you do this, you are reinforcing the most racist attitudes, and you are radicalizing people because you're putting it on the forefront. You're normalizing it. You're putting it and saying, like, this is me. This is my you shouldn't be afraid. One of the best examples of this is like Nazis no longer wearing Klan robes and no longer covering their faces under the Trump administration. They literally were like out and proud. Why? Why were they out and proud? Because they were like, well, that's our guy. He's saying the things that we say, and he's saying it boldly. And the only way that they stopped doing that was when they either got unmasked or outed and doxxed, and anti-fascists were like actively fighting against them. And even then, the media was like, well, anti-fascism is the real fascism, I think. Oh, I mean, there's both sides in this situation. It's like, no, there is no both sides. You got Nazis on the one side, and you got people who say Nazis on the other. What are we talking about? I was there. I was covering it at the time in like 2016. In the 2016 era, there was a legitimate point of contention regularly about how like Antifa is a terror group. It's an organization. But you have to remember, like, all of that coverage aside, there were people who said, nah, that shit. And that's the reason why when Charlottesville, when it happened the first time, had Nazis prominently, openly displaying themselves, associating this dangerous, violent, insane ideology with their own person, right? Openly being like, yeah, this is me. And then the second time they tried to pull that shit, they couldn't. They had like 50 people show up. Why? Because they were afraid of the repercussions. It shouldn't get to a process in which like people have to take matters into their own hands. Like, I'm not an advocate for vigilantism at all, but there are certain instances where it's obvious that the current forms of governance, the regulatory bodies, do not do anything about this situation because it is not a threat to the established hierarchies. Anyway, I can't believe we got jammed up with this like JD Vance nonsense again after I covered this yesterday. I wish I could say I'm shocked, but honestly, you know, as things stand, it's not all that shocking, I guess. Things are just getting progressively worse every day. And if you do not have a consistent, coherent counter message that mainstream media is going to have to cover, if you're the Democratic Party, you're supposed to do counterbalance to all this shit, and you're not doing that, you're not presenting yourself as the counter mechanism, the counterbalance, the counterweight, then the media is not going to cover it.
On the same day that Springfield City Hall was evacuated at 8:30 in the morning because of a bomb threat to multiple facilities throughout Springfield, Donald Trump was in Arizona trying to prove his point that immigrants, and remember, those immigrants, those from Haiti in Springfield, Ohio, are legal immigrants. I'm not saying that I would judge things any differently if they were undocumented immigrants, but these are 100% legal immigrants from Haiti under the temporary protected status law, essentially, that had been granted to them because of political turmoil and disasters that have taken place in Haiti. Here's Donald Trump in Tucson, Arizona.
It's a place called Springfield, Ohio, that you've been reading about. 20,000 illegal Haitian immigrants have descended upon the town.
The city says it's 10 to 15,000. I don't care if it's 10 to 15,000 or 20,000. They are legal immigrants. He is lying. He is slurring, and he is lying.
20,000 illegal Haitian immigrants have descended upon the town of 58,000 people, destroying their entire way of life. This was a beautiful community, and now it's horrible what's happened. Enrollment on the state's Medicaid and food assistance programs have soared. Motor vehicle accidents have skyrocketed. Recording of 911 calls even show residents are reporting that the migrants are walking off with the town's geese. They're taking the geese
pause it for a second.
You know where the geese are?
First off, Medicaid rolls have grown in Ohio, and we should fund more Medicaid. In fact, we should have single-payer health insurance in this country. There is no town geese. There are geese that people complain about any other time, or hunters go out and shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that someone grabbed a goose and cooked it.
Call the fish and game department.
Exactly. But we all know that Donald Trump is a huge vegan. This is why he has a problem with it. Go back a little bit.
His son's hunting big game in Africa.
Right, exactly. But we don't eat it. We just stuff it.
Motor vehicle accidents have skyrocketed. Recording of 911 calls even show residents are reporting that the migrants are walking off with the town's geese. They're taking the geese. You know where the geese are? In the park in the lake. And even walking off with their pets. My dog's been taken. My dogs were stolen. This can only happen. These people are the worst. I'm telling you, Biden and Kamala, this is the worst combination in the history of our country.
Here is just one more time. Make it clear he's lying. He's lying about the status of these Haitian immigrants. Here is Yamiche Alcindor reporting on the question as to whether they're taking my dog.
Tonight, growing fallout over one of the most talked about moments of the debate.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats.
Former President Trump spreading unfounded claims that members of the growing Haitian population in Springfield, Ohio, are abusing pets. City officials say there's no evidence of that. Mr. Trump's running mate, Senator XDefiant, first spread the baseless accusations on social media earlier this week. When I questioned him about it in the debate spin room, he doubled down.
What do you say to Haitian Americans and Haitian immigrants who say spreading false claims about them put their lives at risk?
Well, I don't think that no one has spread false claims. What they've said is that a small migrant community just caused a lot of problems.
Springfield city manager said there's no evidence that immigrants are eating animals.
That just means the city manager, I think, isn't fully in touch with what's going on the ground there.
City officials say the rumors may have begun with an unrelated case in another part of Ohio, where a U.S. citizen was arrested for a gruesome incident involving a cat. On the ground in Springfield, we found deep tensions.
It's just to meet discrimination and xenophobia and bigotry and racism.
Vilas Dorseyville runs a community center for Haitians.
They just believe that their words have no impact, and it's not true. So immigrants in Springfield, especially Haitians, they are so concerned for their lives and the lives of their kids.
In the last few years, officials say as many as 15,000 Haitians legally in the U.S. have moved to the city, which had about 60,000 residents before. City leaders have advertised newly created manufacturing jobs and Springfield's affordability. But some, like Bill Moynihan, say the city suffered from the change.
Oh, it's been disastrous.
What's your response to Haitian immigrants who say they're coming here to revitalize Springfield?
That's not what's happening for Springfield. I mean, it might happen for them. It might happen for the landlords that are enriching themselves, the city manager who's trying to pad his budget.
In a city meeting last night, the parents of 11-year-old Aiden Clark spoke. Aiden was killed in a school bus crash last year. After a jury found a Haitian immigrant guilty of vehicular homicide, tensions escalated.
I said to Aiden that I would try to make a difference in his honor. This is it.
Tonight, they're urging politicians and others to stop using their son's death to spread hate.
Do you know that one of the worst feelings in the world is to not be able to protect your child? Even worse, we can't even protect his memory when he's gone. Please stop the hate.
Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News, Springfield, Ohio.
Now, let's be clear about what politician, I mean, aside from the jeopardy that everybody in Springfield is now being put through with these bomb threats that are a function of Trump and Vance doubling down. Let's be absolutely clear about where this claim that Haitians are murdering people. Put up this tweet by J.D. Vance. And this is from when? Like 3 days ago, right? Tuesday. This is J.D. Vance. This is, I guess he's got like an extended Twitter, right? He must have the blue check. He paid for it?
I would guess so. I mean, maybe you got comp.
Who knows? In the last several weeks, my office has received many inquiries from actual residents of Springfield. I don't believe this. Who said their neighbors or pets or local wildlife were abducted by Haitian migrants. It's possible, of course, that all of these rumors turn out to be false. Do you know it's confirmed that a child was murdered by a Haitian migrant who had no right to be there? Well, first off, I have again repeated, these are legal immigrants here under temporary protected status. And saying that a child was murdered by a Haitian migrant who had no right to be here completely and deliberately obscures the fact that this kid was killed in a car accident. And now the parents are begging Trump and Vance, stop using my child in this way. It's despicable. It's despicable. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out. Carrie Lake and Charlie Kirk, both in full retreat.
So a few days ago, I finished a video talking about the idiotic right-wing lie that the Hells Angels were on their way to Aurora, Colorado to fight a Venezuelan street gang. Sorry, I just need a minute to process that is a sentence you can say in the year of our Lord 2024, and people are like, yeah, yep, that's right, I remember that. Anyway, when I finished that video, I had no desire to address the various other right-wing lies about immigration that are currently floating around. But then this happened.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
My initial thought here was, oh, this is great. Because, you know, if you didn't watch the U.S. presidential debate, Kamala Harris repeatedly baited Donald Trump into having these epic meltdowns by just mentioning things like, you know, how his rally numbers were bad. And that's what eventually led to this explosion. And for people who are not terminally online, who are watching at home, Trump looked, you know, batshit. Because he is. It was a really good debate tactic, I thought, on the part of Kamala Harris. And sure enough, you know, surveys the next day showed that by and large people thought Kamala won the debate and that Donald looked bonkers. But, you know, after my initial joyous reaction, I realized, wow, you know, a former United States president who is running to be president again just stood on a stage in front of 60 million people and shouted Nazi propaganda, and the election is still probably going to be a tight race. And that's really depressing. From the moment that this lie hit social media, everyone who works in the area of radicalization and hate groups, everyone I follow at least, immediately recognized this as a Nazi talking point. The classic big lie used by bigots to stir up hatred against a marginalized group, of course, is blood libel, the idea that Jewish people ritually murder Christian children and use their blood to cook treats for Passover. There have been many variations on this over the past 2 millennia, but the basic gist is always that Jewish people are evil, predatory, savage, even subhuman, and that they are a dangerous threat to the civilized world that must be removed. That is why blood libel has directly led to the persecution of Jews throughout several millennia. That's why the experts immediately clocked this lie as a new take on an old Nazi bit of propaganda. It's a persecuted group, in this case, Haitian immigrants, that are said to be so evil and predatory and savage and subhuman that they are going to come to our wholesome towns and eat our beloved pets. They are clearly a dangerous threat that must be countered somehow, huh? While I agreed with the experts that this was obviously a spin on that ancient Nazi talking point, I didn't realize at first quite how right they were. You know, I knew that the lie started because of an upsetting video of police body cam footage, which showed a woman experiencing a serious mental breakdown and trying to eat a cat. The woman was not Haitian, not a recent immigrant, possibly not an immigrant at all, we don't really know, and not in Springfield. So how did that video end up being used as proof that Haitians are in Springfield eating people's pets? Hold on to your monocle. Turns out some Nazis started it. Just a few weeks ago, a man spoke at the Springfield City Commission meeting. Here is what he had to say.
Nathaniel Higgers of Blood Pride. I was at the head of the anti-Haitian immigration march earlier this month. I'm sure the Honorable Mr. Rob Rue recognizes me, considering he supposedly knew of our action before we even arrived. First of all, I would like to dispel the myth that you knew of our march and intentionally had no reaction or made no forewarning about it as a preventative measure. You have no more idea than the police officers or Haitians. And it's frankly insulting to our organization to make such a claim. Second, I've come to bring a word of warning. Stop what you're doing before it's too late. Crime and savagery will only increase with every Haitian you bring in. And with it, public frustration and anger.
You sound threatening to me. I'm gonna.
Based on the comments
I could ask the police to go ahead.
I'm sure I don't need to tell you that.
Just sound threatening if you go ahead and just peacefully be removed.
These people didn't ask for this. And they deserve better than to have to put up with violent, unruly outsiders.
You're done. Thank you. That's all. Thank you so much. Not really. Thank you.
Now, the journalist who posted that said that this man is named Nathaniel Higgers from Blood Pride, which isn't quite right. First of all, that is not his real name. That's an anti-black slur that stupid bigots think is clever. His real name is Drake R. Barretts, a well-known white supremacist who is the second in command of a neo-Nazi group called Blood Tribe. He was with them back in February when he marched through Tennessee, where he appeared on camera assaulting someone. Anti-fascists have fully cataloged everything this disgusting chud has done, including taking note of his prominent Nazi tattoos, so he's pretty easy to recognize. So yeah, this lie was actually dreamt up and spread by literal Nazis before vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance picked up the story and posted it to his Nazi-adjacent fans on Shitter, where it racked up more than 100,000 likes. After the town of Springfield went on record to say the entire thing was a dangerous lie, not only did no one at Shitter at a community know, but Vance posted an even more disgusting follow-up. In the last several weeks, my office has received many inquiries from actual residents of Springfield who've said their neighbors' pets or local wildlife were abducted by Haitian migrants. It's possible, of course, that all of these rumors will turn out to be false. Do you know what's confirmed? That a child was murdered by a Haitian migrant who had no right to be here. He goes on, but I want to pause here because this is another lie that was repeated by Donald Trump at the debate with Harris. And somehow it manages to be even worse than the pet eating lie. And until I read this lie, I didn't think that that was even possible. I didn't think they could sink lower. Here's why it's worse. Not only does this lie also stoke hatred against Haitian immigrants who do have every right to be here, but it does so by exploiting a dead child and his grieving family. In 2023, a man accidentally crashed his car into a school bus, tipping it over. Many children were injured, and one 11-year-old Aiden Clark was killed. The man responsible was a Haitian immigrant, and the incident is largely what kicked off a heated debate over Springfield's policies on welcoming immigrants to save their dying industry town. I can imagine what it must be like to lose a child. And not only that, but then to be thrust into the middle of a political debate, and then to see your son used as a pawn by bigots to further their hateful agenda. I can't describe how that is, but Aiden's dad actually did. Here he is speaking about what they have gone through.
We felt it would be in our best interest to be here after recent comments. You know, I wish that my son, Aiden Clark, was killed by a 60-year-old white man. I bet you never thought anyone would ever say something so blunt. But if that guy killed my 11-year-old son, the incessant group of hate-spewing people would leave us alone. The last thing that we need is to have the worst day of our lives violently and constantly shoved in our faces. But even that's not good enough for them. They take it one step further. They make it seem as though our wonderful Aiden appreciates your hate, that we should follow their hate. And look what you've done to us. We have to get up here and beg them to stop. Using Aiden as a political tool is, to say the least, reprehensible for any political purpose. And speaking of morally bankrupt, politicians, Bernie Moreno, Chip Roy, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump, they have spoken my son's name and used his death for political gain. This needs to stop now. They can vomit all the hate they want about illegal immigrants, the border crisis, and even untrue claims about fluffy pets being ravaged and eaten by community members. However, they are not allowed, nor have they ever been allowed to mention Aiden Clark from Springfield, Ohio. I will listen to them one more time to hear their apologies. To clear the air, my son, Aiden Clark, was not murdered. He was accidentally killed by an immigrant from Haiti. This tragedy is felt all over this community, the state, and even the nation. But don't spin this towards hate. In order to live like Aiden, you need to accept everyone. Choose to shine, make the difference, lead the way, and be the inspiration. What many people in this community and state and nation are doing is the opposite of what you should be doing. Sure, we have our problems here in Springfield and in the U.S., but does Aiden Clark have anything to do with that? Did you know that an 11-year-old boy could be passionate about gardening, that he could haggle for a better price at a yard sale? Did you know that he researched different cultures to better appreciate and understand people that he interacted with? Did you know that one of the worst feelings in the world is to not be able to protect your child? Even worse, we can't even protect his memory when he's gone. Please stop the hate. I said to Aiden that I would try to make a difference in his honor. This is it. Live like Aiden. Thank you.
Friends, I'm not embarrassed to admit that I sobbed the first time I watched that. I should tell you that it hits a bit close to home because I lost a kid that I used to babysit when a drunk driver hit his school bus. But even without that connection, you would have to be a monster to not feel deeply empathetic for these people. And you'd have to be an even bigger monster to then use this tragedy for scoring political points in a debate. And especially for using it to sow fear and hatred of people who are already struggling, people who are just trying to make a better life for themselves. It's just so unbelievably vile. So yeah, sorry to like take this someplace sad, but yeah, I laughed during the debate when Trump went on this unhinged rant about immigrants eating cats and dogs, but I can't really laugh about it anymore. The man in serious contention to become the next president of the United States just mindlessly repeated 2 actual Nazi lies on the world stage. We have a moral obligation to make sure that these disgusting losers never get power again. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you
Hamza was undeniably one of the most influential figures in the YouTube self-help community. So much so that he managed to manipulate his core audience into seeing him as a cult leader to be emulated without question. Unfortunately, Hamza would take advantage of this dynamic for selfish gain, and as a result, lose not just his credibility, but over 90% of his viewers in just 8 months.
This isn't a good look, Hamza. This isn't a good look, Hamza. Oh, Hamza! Watch out, Hamza! Anime's okay. Moderation is key. Go f yourself. Moderation is key.
Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be going over the unsettling downfall of one of YouTube's biggest self-improvement creators, Hamza Ahmed. How fame, status, and success fueled Hamza's growing ego, and what this means for the followers who see his words as law and treat him like a deity. Back in 2022, I uploaded a video covering Hamza's rise to the top of the YouTube algorithm. In a nutshell, Hamza built his brand by showcasing the intimate aspects of his self-improvement journey and offering young men guidance on how they could better themselves too. With valuable videos on topics like fitness, relationships, and making money, Hamza rapidly carved out a dedicated fan base that looked forward to every upload. While this might seem straightforward, the complexity lies in Hamza's ability to be honest and transparent with his viewers, no matter the topic.
Is your future self thinking, I wish you just stopped watching all of these self-improvement videos and actually took action to better your life?
Hamza would gradually transform his close connection with viewers into a cult-like kinship dedicated to pushing its members to fulfill their potential. As you would imagine, Hamza proudly assumed leadership of said cult.
That's how cults work. That is precisely how cults work, that you have this leader, the leader's word cannot be questioned, all of the followers that get co-opted in, they all just believe because you're supposed to believe.
Have you seen my Instagram bio?
No, what's it say?
I've just changed it to cult leader.
The cult's mission would be based on members trying to emulate the fictional figure Hamza created, called Adonis.
This cult of young men that you see before you is all about taking responsibility. We strive to become more like Adonis. He's successful, but he's humble. He's strong, but he acknowledges his weaknesses. There are 5 virtues of Adonis: discipline, humility, presence, gratitude, and leadership.
Keep these 5 values of Adonis in mind, as they'll become very important later. For now, Hamza would contrast the shining image of Adonis with a lesser figure dubbed Jeffrey, the embodiment of everything Hamza believed a man should be.
Jeffrey's the average guy. He's overweight, lazy, and undisciplined. He got average grades in school. He works an average job that he doesn't like. He doesn't attract the kind of women that he wants. He lives a mediocre life. Jeffrey hears about self-improvement, about exercising and building a body that he could be proud of. He hears about meditation, gratitude journaling, reading, and learning. And Jeffrey refuses to do any of it. He spends his days playing video games, jacking off to messed up and eating junk food. What a disgrace.
This dynamic would become the premise behind many of Hamza's subsequent videos, as he compared how Jeffrey and Adonis responded to different social situations. To keep the messages as personal as possible, Hamza would include stories about his past mistakes and achievements, which showed he was still improving like everyone else. While the Jeffrey versus Adonis dynamic was a good way for Hamza to highlight traits viewers should aspire to, it would also prove to be overly simplistic and lack nuanced explanation of what it takes to truly become a successful individual. However, this wouldn't stop Hamza's movement from rapidly spreading across the internet. From late 2022 to early 2023, Hamza would triple the sub count on his main channel, growing from 500k to over 1.5 million. Hamza's open and honest approach to self-improvement content allowed him to build a massive community eager to follow his prescribed roadmap to success. Sadly, no one could have anticipated how much Hamza would change after becoming somewhat of a successful figure, as he began to reveal a dark side of himself no one had seen before. On the 16th of September 2022, Hamza published a stream highlight to his second channel titled Hamza Explodes on Anime Profile Pictures. And as the title suggests, the video was meant to ridicule individuals he felt were negatively impacting his audience.
Stop trying to negatively affect me. Stop trying to negatively affect my boys here. If you play video games, if you watch anime, keep your mouth shut. They come in here and anime's fine, a video, just 1 hour video. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Oh, you play it, okay, fine. You play it, fine. Don't come in here and try and change my mind. Don't come in here and try and tell my boys to stop playing video games.
Hamza's rant would become even more heated as he commented on videos that were critical of his stance on self-improvement and claimed the videos were coming from the same people who promoted anime and video games in chat.
These people, they've made videos about me over the last year, countless, relentless, critical videos about me saying that Hamza's being too hard, but 1 hour of video games is fine. I watch them and I'm just thinking, how they're saying that I'm a bad person because I'm too strict on self-improvement. How am I a bad person from expecting better from my young boys? I see their critical videos about me all the time. You can go and search like Hamza's wrong on YouTube. These amount of motherfuckers who have made videos saying, oh well, Hamza doesn't even know what he's talking. He's just a young guy. 1 hour of video games isn't gonna hurt you.
Although consuming most forms of entertainment in moderation wouldn't derail someone's self-improvement journey, Hamza was determined to make his viewers think that any attempt at relaxation would put them behind in life.
You already understand life works like a race of men. Any of these pussies who tell you that they're not competing against the rest of us is fucking lying. You're in competition with me. If you slow down to play 1 hour of video games, I'll fuck your future wife, bro. If you watch anime, guess what I'll do to you? You're gonna let me run past you in this race, bro? Are you honestly gonna, if you're on self-improvement, you should be thinking, bro, fuck Hamza. I'm gonna make sure that motherfucker's not running faster than me. Good. Me and you will be worthy competitors.
One could argue that Hamza's words were coming from a place of tough love, but if that was the case, then why did he convey it in such a condescending fashion? What was the logic of putting himself on a pedestal because he didn't consume a particular form of entertainment? Although the overall response to these comments was positive, some viewers recognized Hamza's faulty reasoning with comments that read, "Can't be only me who thinks that Hamza is now seeing everything as black and white," as well as, "Nah, I'm starting to think this isn't self-improvement anymore. This is more like become like Hamza." Live streams wouldn't be the only place Hamza expressed some unconventional views of what it meant to be masculine, as he'd make similar comments during his short form uploads.
This is gonna sound weird. You need to be hit in the face. I say young man, you need to be hit in the face consistently. Trust me when I say that greatly improves your character. When you are under some kind of threat of violence, you become present, you become focused. All of those bullshit thoughts in your mind, those insecure thoughts disappear. Suddenly it's just you in the real world versus this other man, and your objective is to...
By the 19th of September 2022, Hamza would acknowledge the impact live streaming was having on his channel and ask his viewers for advice on what direction to take the channel.
Live streaming has been like the most intrinsically motivating part of my work that I've ever had before. I am a little bit fearful that it's kind of tainting my character and brand image of like being more like Adonis and peaceful, because naturally in this state of like this hyperactive chat and we get into emotional rants and everything, to perform better on live streams.
The best answer to Hamza's question would come in the form of a comment that read, "Hamza, the criticism is due to you doing the opposite of what Hamza a year ago would have done. The sudden switch in content is strange for your viewers. You are a completely different person now. Just don't forget how you started, bro. Build your brand, do your thing. Just don't expect to retain your original audience because you told them to get off YouTube and not watch low return on investment live streams like this one." Despite the obvious drawbacks to ranting on stream, Hamza continued to feed into his egotistical side while masking it as self-improvement advice.
So I just went on a little rant then talking about, porn being bad for us and stuff. And this anime profile picture motherfucker just came into the chat and said, "Forgive us for having fun, Hamza." Just went on a little rant. That is bad for you. And this anime profile picture motherfucker just came in and said, "Forgive us for having fun, Hamza."
Hamza had gone beyond providing well-meaning advice and was now shaming anyone who made lifestyle choices he didn't agree with. Naturally, Hamza's viewers pointed out his shift in behavior and likened his stream to be something Sneeko would make, with comments reading, "I love watching you, Sneeko. Thanks for another entertaining live stream," as well as, "I'd sub to watch actual useful content and maybe get some insight. night, not to watch mindless rants in a car. Since Hamza has started live streaming, I feel like the quality of the channel has taken a massive hit. Berating viewers for straying from a set path was only one of the things that made Hamza lose his cool on stream. The other one was when anyone questioned his masculinity.
You speaking about how masculine you are makes so dry out in the Sahara Desert. Aravind Nair. Yeah, I think you should date her, bro. You seem like the champion who knows about girls better than I do, bro.
Hamza would take things a step further by starting a very heated exchange with a random viewer and asking for his Discord username.
Aravind, what's your Discord, mate? Let's get you on a Discord call, bro. Let's see you flirt with her. Yeah, Aravind, what's your name? Aravind Nair. So this guy keeps leaving fucking hateful comments in this stream so far, calling me cringe, saying that I'm drying her up and stuff. Okay, Aravind Nair, drop your Discord. We'll hop onto a Discord call with you right now and we'll see your flirting game.
For the next several minutes, Hamza would repeatedly ask for the viewer's Discord name while taking every opportunity to make fun of him.
Your Discord, Aravind, come on. Boys, if Aravind doesn't come onto the call with me, I'm just going to end the live stream, man. He's made me sad. We need him. Everyone spam him and make sure he comes onto a video call with us. Aravind, come on, man. We want to hear about how you flirt because clearly you're better than me.
Hamza's facade of confidence was slowly giving way to insecurity, but it seemed he was too far gone to notice, which escalated things even further.
Hugo Orton donated $2. Aravind, do it, bro. I'll spar you as well. Showing off your girl is so insecure. Self-improvement is masturbation. All you do is tell others to fix their lives while you're a kid yourself. Me and you should have a discussion, bro. Aravind, Discord call right now, bro. It'll be entertaining.
For the rest of the video, Hamza bounced between trying to justify his actions by claiming he was only making jokes out of hate comments.
You can tell what kind of man someone is by their response. So this Aravind guy, I don't know if he's still in the chat or not, but he was just sat here whilst we were just, speaking about self-improvement. He just leaving hate and everything. Saying, hop onto the Discord call so we can just make fun of him and, he'll come in and he'll start stuttering and, he'll just be weird and he'll apologize or something. But you can truly tell what kind of person, a man is, what kind of comments they leave.
And deflecting any criticism thrown his way by demanding a fight.
Aravind Nair, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I make money actually helping others, not just spouting the same bullshit to a fatherless audience. Aravind, you're pissing off a lot of people here, Aravind. I think there's like 20 people that would want to fight you.
Even though Hamza couldn't see the mistakes he was making, a significant portion of his audience did, and they were very disappointed, with comments reading, Hamza's life has taken a left turn. It's sad to see. Hope him the best and hope he recovers from being a Jeffrey. Real title, Hamza being a Jeffrey versus Jeffrey. As well as, this video will be a reminder not to let my ego take a hold of me. Eventually, Hamza would put an end to the rage-fueled live streams and return to his usual Jeffrey versus Adonis and unfiltered content, which was a welcomed change. However, by the 1st of February 2023, Hamza would make yet another radical shift in his career with a video titled, I Fulfilled My Purpose.
I've been on this journey for over 2 years, dedicating myself fully to this. Every single day I woke up and thought about spreading this message of self-improvement. This has been my purpose for over 2 years. And a little while ago, I completed this layer of my purpose and I'm on to the next layer.
Hamza went on to announce that he'd no longer be putting out frequent uploads and stated that he'd be dissolving his production team as a result.
I've made the hard decision now after weighing this up so many times, after speaking to my close friend who helps me make these decisions. I've made the hard decision now to stop this content production machine that we had here, this huge team that we had of 7 video editors and TikTok guys and sales guys and Twitter guys. And I let every single one go, including Sam, my best friend who worked for me for over 2 years.
According to Hamza, the drastic change to the channel was a byproduct of outgrowing the influencer lifestyle and in pursuit of his personal development.
My new layer of my purpose for me to focus on is my own development as a man. I no longer care about being a YouTuber or an influencer or a celebrity or a man with fame or anything like this.
Surprisingly, Hamza would set his sights on a far more arduous path of becoming a fighter.
And the angle that it's currently fixated on my mind, my heart and my soul is fighting, competition, martial arts. that's what I'm throwing myself into fully.
While becoming a fighter was Hamza's new direction in life, he still maintained the need to share helpful advice and personal experiences with his audience.
What I do still have some positive feeling about is the beauty of passing knowledge to each other. I no longer want to see this as a YouTube channel that I'm trying to grow. I want to see this as me genuinely just sitting down, turning the camera on when I have some actually like really valuable knowledge to give to you, some really valuable.
From the outside looking in, it seemed Hamza had gotten over his egotistical side and was trying to realign his life with a higher purpose. This was the type of change viewers were looking for, as the comment section was flooded with positive messages encouraging Hamza on his latest endeavor. Reading, "We must move on and share the knowledge of self-improvement to other young men. Thank you, Hamza." As well as, "Damn dude, you left a hell of a legacy. You are a legend among men. And I know you're going to succeed in your next purpose. Godspeed, brother." And another comment foreshadowing what was going to happen. The next few guides were some of the best Hamza stuff ever, and it was downhill from there. By the following week, Hamza kept to his promise and uploaded an hour-long guide on how his viewers could find purpose in their life. Even though the value derived from the video was subjective, it was a step in the right direction and showed Hamza was committed to improving himself.
Today we're going to cover how purpose works as a masculine man. And my intention with this, my hope is that by the end of this video, you will be convinced that this is the only way to live.
All Hamza had to do to maintain his legacy was keep his ego in check, deliver high-quality content whenever he uploaded, and follow through on becoming a fighter. Tragically, Hamza would fall short on almost all these expectations, and seemingly betray every core value he's set up so far. Around a month after Hamza announced his decision to drop content creation and become a fighter, he seemingly returned to a frequent upload schedule. While the videos had tuned down editing and were fairly long, you wouldn't expect Hamza to start uploading again after claiming he was no longer interested in being a YouTuber. Stranger still, Hamza doubled down on the business side of his platform with the launch of Adonis Academy, a monthly membership that offered direct coaching from Hamza on how young men could take action in self-improvement.
That's why I've started, and it's something that I'm like selling, so it's like, you know, if you don't want to spend money for it, absolutely no problem. The video is still free, the Discord server is still there and everything.
The major selling point for Hamza's new community was 3 weekly calls that allowed members to ask for advice on topics like health, wealth, and relationships.
3 calls a week, which will be split up into the areas of health, wealth, relationships. So on Monday we'll have a call, Wednesday we'll have a call, Friday we'll have a call, health, wealth, relationships on each one.
Although Hamza had offered paid products before, the difference this time was that instead of selling pre-recorded content, Hamza was taking his time directly to teach and mentor members.
What I'm going to tell you right now is this is like a work in project. This is not something that I'm just going to kind of set up and, you know, I can't leave. Like, this is literally based on me just being your teacher. Right now, I'm like a guy who makes YouTube videos. I want to be more of like a teacher where we actually have like more of like a communication together.
To sweeten the deal, Hamza would also include other perks, like access to his previous $400 courses, exclusive meetups in the UK, and to dedicated video lessons, all for $99 a month.
It will be $99 a month, which is a recurring membership. So every month it'll be $99. And this is usually where like the salesmen and stuff, they'll try and justify the price and they'll tell you like, oh yeah, but it is worth it because of this. But no. Like literally, it's $99 a month. It's a recurring membership. The top link in the description, you can go check out. Go click that right now. I'm not going to try and like justify it to you.
Even though a majority of fans were thrilled to be a part of Hamza's new direction for the channel, there were also those who were still curious about what happened to his fighter career. By the 1st of June 2023, Hamza would publish a video explaining why becoming a fighter was no longer his purpose, and the reason he was more focused on making more money.
So a few months ago, I posted a video saying that I had fulfilled my purpose and that I was going to go into the mountains to go train martial arts. And I still receive comments of why I didn't do that. Oh, Hamza, I thought you were going to become a fighter. Now, I explained in a video already, but I put it in like, you know, it was like 2 hours into the video, so a lot of people didn't see it. So I just wanted to explain it here because I still see comments about it.
Hamza would go on to state that after the first day at the fight camp, he felt the experience, quote, didn't feel authentic.
And I just asked myself a question, is this authentic? Is this genuinely where I want to be, what I want to focus on? Or just be honest, you here right now because it'll get you validation from people online.
It's worth remembering that no one asked Hamza to become a fighter. In fact, he chose that path because he assumed it would be a masculine thing to do. And at the time, he didn't sound like he was trying to impress anyone. After all, he fired his entire team and told viewers he was no longer interested in vanity metrics like subscribers or ad revenue. Hamza had always been the type of creator that spoke about things with conviction and a black and white mentality. But after going against his own standards, he decided it's time to move the goalposts.
But I realized that you can't live a life of inauthenticity. If there's something that you genuinely feel as a man that you should be doing, which is right for you, and you don't do that because something else might get you more validation from the people around you. You live this shallow life based on these internet comments.
In an effort to justify this decision, Hamza claimed his true fans would gladly jump at the product he was selling, and that any critique for said product was coming from Jeffries.
A bunch of your real true fans who are looking and thinking, wait, he's just released something which I could buy and I could probably get closer to him or I could learn more from him. That's awesome. And these are your like proper true fans, and so they'll buy anything or they'll look at it and be like, oh man, I can't afford it, but that is awesome. I wish I could afford it. But there's like a 0.1 thing, like the lone like little corner of Jeffries where they just get agitated when you're making money.
For the rest of the video, Hamza would present his move to teach selling courses as the best way to help his male audience. However, was Hamza truly equipped to lecture people on how to be business owners, or was he simply going to sell viewers on a dream and tell them to copy his formula of selling self-improvement courses?
The idea is like, you learn how to make a community which you get paid for. You bring people who have got similar interests together, because I genuinely think, by the way, I'll just give you a random tip. I genuinely think that there's one business model which is the best right now, like possible, and it's private communities.
At the end of the day, Hamza was free to take his channel in any direction he saw fit. However, this change in mentality would mark the beginning of a very turbulent time in Hamza's community, as the focus shifted away from what was best for men more towards what Hamza thought was best. By October 2023, Hamza would announce a new chapter in his life of starting a family.
Moved into the rural mountains of Scotland with my woman, and soon we're gonna buy a home and we're gonna have children. I'm gonna move up my family here. I'm gonna move up like families that I love, and I'm gonna create this dream into a reality. But basically, I'm starting the fatherhood chapter of my life.
Hamza was so convicted that this was the right decision to take things that he would change his channel description to reflect it, with the description reading, "Preparing to be a father." Unfortunately, similar to his previous life-altering plans, Hamza wouldn't follow through with it and decided to go for the easier option. In a now-deleted video, Hamza would describe how a date with a Russian woman changed his perspective on Western women.
I'm sat here with this genuinely like beautiful, but also very, very intelligent-based, sophisticated, classy young woman. Like, in very impressive. That's what I think. Very.
Naturally, Hamza's viewers wondered why he was going on another path when he just announced the fatherhood chapter of his life, and it wouldn't be long before they got an answer.
The reason why me and my ex split up is because we did this little exercise together where I told her to sit down and to write down like her goals and the season of life that she wanted to get into. So both of us had our laptops out and we wrote about, okay, well, for the next few months, what kind of life do we want to live?
Hamza went on to explain that him and his ex-girlfriend wanted to go on separate paths in life that weren't compatible.
But she saw it, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I could see how like offended she was. Where she was quite like pressuring. She was like, "Wait, you want to do this? Oh, you want to do that? You want to stay up late, but that's unhealthy." And I understood, you know, it is fair enough. What I'm saying is like, oh yeah, like I kind of want to be right? And she just couldn't really see that this was like me just being authentic, and this was the life I wanted to live. So there was quite a lot of like judgment from her. And when I saw that judgment, I thought, yeah, like maybe we're not actually compatible for the next season.
As you'd expect, Hamza's audience wasn't very pleased with his indecisive attitude and constantly changing opinions, with comments reading, "What I learned from this video is that I wouldn't take advice from Hamza on maintaining long-term relationships," as well as, "You promised her the world, but you couldn't even keep your word. You were the problem here, mate." This guy changes his opinions every month, making bold claims to his audience and immediately going back on his word or changing his opinion was becoming a very common occurrence in Hamza's videos. In the past, Hamza claimed men should focus on finding a quote, high-quality woman and settle down. But now that he was faced with the same reality, he backed out, and his other opinions of men dedicated themselves to improving their minds and bodies gave way to telling men to make as much money as possible by paying for his monthly membership. Speaking of which, by early 2024, one of Hamza's former students would come out with less than positive opinions about their tiny as paid community. On the 5th of January, a user by the name of Dante would upload a video detailing the more darker aspects to Hamza's Adonis school.
One morning, Hamza posted something that would cause mass panic among the members. He said by the end of the day, he would be kicking over 100 low-contributing members. Now keep in mind, some of these people paid $500 to join and were being threatened by the ban hammer. Although it seems Hamza was gauging the price, people were willing to pay and then kicking those who got in at a lower price.
To add insult to injury, Hamza would end up kicking everyone out of the community anyway.
And just 2 weeks later, he disbanded the school as a whole, wasting all of our time and money, just to reopen it and charge a $500 one-time entry fee.
Dante went on to elaborate on his time in Hamza Academy in an interview with a creator named Regan Nice.
So I can't comment too much on it because I'm not a member of his page, I just want to put that out there. But I had, at this point, about 30 people reach out to me who were ex-members, and they said a lot of the stuff along the lines of they joined, and they found that the information was not a group of stuff that they could easily find online for free. Would you say that is accurate?
Those people are absolutely correct. What's in the actual community is the same thing you get from his videos. You can, look on his channel, and all of the information in the community is just, I guess you could say, maybe a little better within the packaging. There's nice courses with PDFs and trackers and all these other things, but it's basically what's in his videos repackaged, but it's all the same information at the end of the day.
To show just how manipulative Hamza was when confronted with his own failing, Dante shared a comment he left under one of his videos.
He had something where he told his viewers to copy-paste this and screenshot this because he's going to delete it. So, I think that's pretty manipulative. He since edited the comment, but this is, and I quote, "This is really sad, Dante. You were a great student. I helped you one-on-one with your mom's passing. I agreed to go on a call with your father. You seem to fit in and love Adonis School so much. He made multiple testimonial videos saying it was great." That's exactly what he said.
Not only was Hamza willing to deflect criticism by weaponizing such an intimate detail of someone's life, but he also saw no issue with sending his viewers after him.
So you got a 27-year-old man framing a 15-year-old kid as the bad guy, and then saving hundreds of thousands, possibly, of his audience to go and talk crap on your name. Something about that just doesn't sit right with me,
And something that's even more sad is that his audience believes it.
On the 4th of August 2024, Hamza would respond to the situation by providing his side of the story. In a video titled Hamza Responds to the Scammer video, it revealed evidence which displayed that Dante made the video out of bad faith in order to slander his name, providing screenshots showing Dante's testimonials and success within his group, as well as going into just how far he went to support Dante, which included sending him his personal necklace, as well as a handwritten letter.
You know what I did? I didn't send him a DM. I did not send him a DM about this, video posting. I got a piece of paper and a pen, and I hand-wrote him a letter. I took off my necklace that I was wearing in all the videos, or it was like a silver one, and I posted it to the US.
Hamza sent his personal gifts, like this necklace and this note.
He says that I never helped him. He said this multiple times in podcasts that he's went on to try and attack me and my brand. Here's a message from him. I wanted to express my gratitude for the necklace and the handwritten note you gave me. I haven't taken the necklace off since I got it, and the note genuinely made me tear up. You're a great example of what a leader should be like. It's charismatic and selfless. I don't know the word for it, but you think of them and a lot of things. All your character has
To make matters worse, he also displayed evidence of Dante bragging about the video's performance, which made the entire situation appear as though Dante used and enjoyed Hamza's service and then turned on him when he could gain some clout or make a profit. But despite this, Hamza still received a lot of criticism. Hamza's inability to notice his own faults and biases had slowly eaten away at his reputation, and it would take a very stern interview with Chris Williamson for him to even begin to see that.
The problem you have there is, as soon as you posit an ideal, you can then compare yourself to that ideal. And if this ends up being wrong, if actually the thing that you need to do is become a fighter because fighting men have always been warriors, and then 3 weeks later you're like, I don't know, fighting's not for me. And then it's like, I'm in my dad era, I can't wait to stuff. Relationship's gone. The more stake is that you hit into the ground, the more difficult it's going to be to pull back out.
When Hamza initially started the Adonis movement, he based it on 5 simple values: discipline, humility, presence, gratitude, and leadership. Sadly, Hamza failed to live up to 3 of these values multiple times in his career. Hamza frequently presents his opinions as bold fact that his impressionable audience should emulate, when even he couldn't meet the standards he set. However, it seems Hamza wasn't too far gone to notice his mistakes. In one of his recent videos titled "I Fell Off Self-Improvement," Hamza would acknowledge some of his faults and attempt to own up to them.
Because I'd seen it with, Conor McGregor and athletes and everything. They always kind of like discipline themselves in the early days, then they build success, and then they just kind of like lose it all because of random mistakes that they made. And I always used to see that and be like, oh yeah, not me, bro, not me. And then I just find myself in this situation, because when you do reach success, it's like, it's so easy for everyone who hypes you up for it to get to your head.
Hamza would even try to see things from the perspective of his viewers, and took note of how difficult it would be to watch their favorite creator make easily avoidable mistakes.
And I must say, from your perspective, it must have been annoying as fuck and like cringe. It's so fucking cringe to see me make decisions that I didn't even stick to, where I'd randomly flip-flop and change my mind.
Although the video showed Hamza trying to be authentic, the comment section would tell a completely different story. Before Hamza was able to delete it, Regan screenshotted a comment that showed the intentions behind the upload.
As expected, instead of just being a man and owning up to his mistakes, Hamza's ego wouldn't allow that, and he had to play some sort of manipulation game. Unfortunately, he made one lethal mistake, which was forgetting to perception manage in the comments from the get-go. He let his little mask slip off, insulted Dante once again, and lied in the comments, and then later deleted the evidence when he figured out his mistake.
Even after his ego-driven actions had tarnished his reputation, chased away a significant portion of the Adonis School members, and caused his viewership to stagnate, Hamza was still being disingenuous with his community. Whether or not this behavior will
Today's episode is all about the most disgusting, violent, and downright scandalous controversies to unfold in the realm of fast food. From Jack's employees contaminating food with menstrual blood, to McDonald's managers selling drugs using the drive-thru window, to a Burger King refusing to serve the disabled, welcome to yet another installment of the internet's most infamous fast food disasters. If you're watching this video, it's more likely than not that you've received bad customer service at fast food before. While it can be extremely frustrating, most of you out there have the social awareness not to make a big scene out of it and, work towards a sensible compromise with the employees who fucked you over. Well, this wouldn't be the case with the woman who became frustrated at a Chipotle in Parma, Ohio late last year. This is the story of the Chipotle Chucker. In September of 2023, a customer by the name of Rosemary Hain became furious after receiving her order, apparently being unsatisfied with the quality of her Chipotle. Despite attempts to calm her down, Hain completely lost it and violently threw a bowl of hot food directly into the employee's chest and face. The whole incident was recorded by a bystander, with another customer immediately confronting Hain and threatening to call the cops over the matter. It shouldn't be surprising that this footage was immediately uploaded to social media, with many being outraged by the woman's absurd behavior. The victim in question was 17-year-old Emily Russell, with Rosemary being quickly arrested and charged with assault. According to Fox 8 News, when questioned about why she committed such a bizarre act, she stated, "If I showed you how my food looked and how my food looked a week later from that same restaurant, it's disgusting." Despite this, she did offer a full apology and made it clear she regretted her actions. The judge, however, was completely unsympathetic to her pleas. She was sentenced to 180 days in jail, with 90 of them being suspended. According to official sources, Judge Timothy Gilligan, who was presiding over the case, wasn't quite done yet, though. While a jail sentence was bad enough, he felt that this was an opportunity to teach the woman what it was like to be on the receiving end of customer abuse. So he offered her a deal. If she worked in a fast food restaurant for a minimum of 20 hours for an 8-week period, he would significantly reduce her jail sentence. And this was an offer that she readily took. Yeah, part of her punishment from the judge was having her actually work at a restaurant. While this had clearly been an unpleasant experience for the young worker, she didn't seem to let it impact her all too much. In an interview with USA Today, she stated, "I was telling the judge she left the building and went to her car, and she came back, and that's what she did to my face. We live in a world right now where she could have done anything she wanted. She could have punched me in my face or pulled a gun out. I'm lucky that I only got a bowl thrown in my face." It was also revealed that she believed the punishment was befitting of the crime, saying she was satisfied with the outcome. In addition to all of this, a GoFundMe was started for the girl, with it racking up over $10,000 in total donations. Obviously, what Hain had done was inexcusable and shouldn't have happened, but the donations and public outcry certainly served as a nice silver lining to the unfortunate event. However, this wouldn't be the end of the story. An article was recently released by the news outlet Grub Street, where they examined her life after the incident and whether or not she had actually received a proper punishment. According to the article, she ended up being employed at a Burger King restaurant to comply with the judge's request. But this is about as far as her goodwill went. She said some questionable comments when reflecting on the incident, having the nerve to imply the clip of her throwing the food in the employee's face had been, quote, taken out of context, stating, "If you saw the full video, you'll see me waiting for 35 minutes. You'll see me say something to Emily that's not rude or anything. You'll see her talk rude to me. I wish I could post that." It's also important to clarify here that the reason she says that she was upset was that she thought that the food just looked disgusting. The order was actually totally correct, but, she justifies her outrage by saying that it just looked like shit. Which I've had some fucked up bowls from Chipotle before, but come on, bitch, this is like out of line. This, combined with the extremely long wait time and the allegedly rude service, apparently led this woman to the infamous outburst. Overall, the situation serves as a reminder that fast food workers are human beings as well. And no matter how frustrating terrible service can be, it's never worth going completely psycho over some food. A common trope in movies and TV shows is the idea of a disgruntled fast food worker tampering with the customer's order, usually by spitting on the food and serving it while the recipient will mindlessly go about eating it without a second thought. While it's disturbing to imagine, it's actually extremely rare that this happens. Most of the stories that you've seen online over the years regarding fast food contamination, it's all hoaxes, myths, and urban legends. That being said, some incidents have occurred, and one of the most graphic and disturbing occurred at a restaurant in Columbus, Mississippi. This is the story of Jack's secret sauce. On January 7th of 2017, 18-year-old Sky Juliet Samuel was working at a Jack's restaurant when she became frustrated with a customer in the drive-thru. The exact wording of their exchange is unknown, but the important thing is that it was enough to greatly upset both parties. Sky in particular got so upset that she decided to add something a bit extra to the customer's order when making it. According to later reports, she licked the cheese for the burger and then proceeded to wipe menstrual blood onto the sandwich, allegedly disguising this stuff with the condiment. Sky's co-worker witnessed all of this, and when she went home, immediately told her mother about the incident, who then proceeded to make a post on Facebook, warning any patrons that had ordered food from the restaurant in a specific window of time that their order may have been tampered with in a serious way. The victim had reported Sky, intending to get her in trouble for her poor customer service, but after seeing the post, put two and two together and reported the incident to the authorities. According to an article by KFOR News, the mother of the co-worker who had initially reported the tampering was fired a few days later, implying that Jax had attempted to cover up the whole thing. However, this rumor was dispelled once it was revealed the employee in question was actually terminated for stealing food. Once the news became public knowledge, a wave of disgust swept through the internet, as many were horrified picturing the event in their minds. It goes without saying that Sky would be fired immediately from her position, but the story doesn't end there. This wasn't a simple prank gone wrong. It was a serious health code violation that could potentially land her in prison for up to 5 years. She eventually did turn herself into police after a warrant was issued, willingly allowing herself to be arrested. However, she was soon released on a $5,000 bond. Interestingly, according to the Daily Mail, the girl had previously worked at a Krispy Kreme nearby, but was terminated for reasons that weren't exactly clear. Hopefully she didn't add some of her own custom frosting to a strawberry donut. A spokesperson for Jax released a lengthy statement expressing their concern regarding the ordeal, making absolute certain to emphasize that this was a unique incident that had never happened before at their establishment, making it clear that they were fully cooperating with the proper authorities.
Jax sent out this statement saying, in part, food safety is our top priority at Jax Family Restaurants. The company takes any claims of improper food handling very seriously. Recently, an audio tape recording was posted on social media claiming that an employee at the restaurant in Columbus potentially violated our stringent food handling standards. The employee allegedly involved in this incident was terminated several days ago for unrelated reasons and no longer works for the company. The restaurant received an A rating. At this point, Jack's internal investigation is ongoing, and the company will do everything it can to assist authorities with their own investigation.
The story gained so much traction that Sky was covered by The Breakfast Club and was deemed Donkey of the Day by Charlemagne the God.